My name is Jason Malott. I've authored 2 books. I graduated from Liberty University with a degree in biblical research, and I have been a longtime researcher of the Bible. My most recent book is called Puppies and Napalm, the Extradimensional Madness of the Prophets. To kind of summarize the idea, because I know the name is a little bit different, it's based upon something that had happened back in 1968 at the University of Cincinnati on Veterans Day. There was a protest that they were doing against the Vietnam War, and they put out an advertisement saying, "Come and watch us napalm a puppy." A lot of people obviously were mad. That's the kind of reaction they wanted. They wanted people to get mad because they wanted to point out, you're so upset about us napalming a puppy, but we're napalming these Vietnamese people on a daily basis and nobody seems to care. One of the things that really inspired me about this story was Christians have a really strange idea about God, and especially when it comes to hell, when it comes to damnation, when it comes to all those weird, crazy things. They believe in a God that likes to napalm people. And I wanted to right that wrong and write a book about my own research and what I had come to a conclusion on. The thing that specifically inspired me to do this book was actually Hunter S. Thompson. I liked the concept of gonzo journalism. Hunter Thompson used to write the words of The Great Gatsby on a typewriter. He said he did that because he wanted to feel what it was like to be Fitzgerald. So I wanted to write a book as an Old Testament prophet. I took all of these different Old Testament prophets and I put all their stories in this book, but I wrote it from a perspective of a modern day idea. I used the concept of gonzo journalism, of getting into the person's head to write this story that not only was meant to be written to the church, but also to everyone who kind of has a problem with the way Christianity is. And to display what I have learned from my years and years of research, a lot of truths that have been hidden because people have fell in love with a God who napalms people, who likes to burn people in hell for all eternity. And I wanted to change that. I realized at a very young age that writing is not meant to just be a chore or something that you do for school, but it's a way you can express yourself. It's a way that you can create art. When it comes to what inspired me, one of the first books that I'd ever gotten as a Christian called A Cry in the Wilderness. It was notes from Keith Green, a real famous musician from the 80s. And most recently, Dr. Michael Heiser, The Unseen Realm. It really changed my mind on the Old Testament and looking at a lot of the old stories kind of in a different light. I also had people in my life as I grew up as a Christian that preached sermons that gave me inspiration, like Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland. I had 2 women at my original church when I first started in the ministry, like actually building a church, Jeannie and Esther. They helped me to find my voice and taught me not to be afraid of people, to speak my mind and not worry sometimes if I step on people's toes. And I had to do that a lot in my last book. My next book is going to be called Tie Clips and Cufflinks, What Matters Most. The idea of the book came from a story. I'd spent 20 years in the financial industry. I managed banks and finance companies, and I was at a meeting where we were supposed to watch a presentation from the CEO of the company, and it was called What Matters Most. Well, while he was on stage, he dropped one of his cufflinks. And he spent what seemed like hours looking for these cufflinks, and all the other executives that were on stage with him all got on their hands and knees looking around for this cufflink. And I'm sitting here watching it thinking, you just displayed to us what matters most. There's so many things that we experience, things that we go through in our life, and it's trying to take those little things and turn them into life lessons. I want to make them something that means more than just tie clips and cufflinks. It's something that actually matters. In this new book, I really want to tell a story that kind of boils down the Bible, Jesus, Christianity, all these different things that we've heard and know into something that's practical and something that's real. Social justice, caring about the poor, caring about the people who need help, being people who live like Jesus. And that's really kind of what's inspiring me right now. If you actually Google any of these books that I mentioned, Puppies and Napalm or Adam is God, Eve is Us, you'll be able to actually read the first few chapters for free on Google. Barnes & Noble, Walmart, Target, anywhere you buy books, you can find them.